Hey Chestnuts, welcome to the Spanner Lab. I'm Sasha, and welcome to my new series, Mission 2021, where I try to get a rating on Classical, on LiChess, of 2021 before 2021. We'll see how that goes. So this was my first ever game in Classical on LiChess. I tend not to do it just because it takes so long. And I came up against an opponent called RiskyWhiskey who had a rating of 1555. I opened e4, and they replied d6. I replied d4, and they replied c6, to which my instant thought was, oh, so you don't deserve the 1555 rating. I played c4. I don't know if that's the best move. Houdini agrees with me. I just like a big pawn center. I like occupying all the space. Knight f6, knight c3, and then the queen comes out. So I'm, at this minute, not thinking a great deal of my opponent. Like, I have played chess since I was a child, and I know there's some stuff you do not do. This game, I could have lost it very, very easily because I got overconfident. Because I started seeing this, the d6, c6 opening, the bringing the queen out on move 5, and I thought, yeah, patzer. So I played bishop to g2. I should have played queen to c2. So what I was worried about was, knight taking on e4. Queen c2 would have done that. So, yeah, just don't do that, I guess. Queen to b6, now attacking the b2 pawn. If I just moved to queen to c2 to begin with, this wouldn't be an issue. Now, the computer at this point thinks I should ignore that b pawn. Forget about it. Knight to f3. Thinks that black shouldn't take this. I'm telling you now, they would have. When you're playing against a human being and they start attacking your b pawn, they're gonna take it next move. That's their plan. So this whole sequence, which ends with me down 2 pawns, the computer likes it. I don't. The computer thinks I've got sufficient compensation for my 2 pawns. I don't know. If you sat me down and said, which side would you rather play in this position? I mean, I wouldn't enjoy either of them, to be honest. White's down 2 pawns. Black hasn't got a good square for that knight, because obviously that knight and that bishop are competing for this square here. But yeah, I don't like this. The computer loves it. The computer thinks it's great. Best thing ever. I can't see it. I played e5. I'm trying to counterattack on the knight. It doesn't really work. Okay, I'm playing too quickly. I'm not doing what I should be doing. I should have taken on d6 and just kept taking with that pawn until there was nothing left to take. Didn't do it. Oops. Just started making small mistakes. So now I end up losing this pawn over here because my bishop's overworked. So when the bishop takes here, I take it back, and then the knight takes on c4. I'm now 2 pawns down, and I should stop and think, but I don't. I end up playing knight to a4 instead. Just desperately trying to defend this b pawn, which I should just do with queen to c2 again. But I don't. I move the knight, I attack the queen. I get a little bit arrogant still. Queen goes to a5. Saw that coming. Played knight to c3. Just to not lose that knight. e6. Looking to get the bishop out. Okay, I'm going to castle. It's not the right move, but the minute I'm on damage limitation, I want to get my king safe, because that is one of the few things I have over my opponent right now, is that RiskyWhiskey's king is in the center, and now mine is not. Mine is as far away from that queen as it can possibly be right now, and that's what I wanted. Knight goes to d7. I play queen to b3. Now, I probably should have played the previous move, which forces the bishop back to b6, but I thought may as well play it now. Moment might have passed, but it might not have done. I'm going to play queen to b3, because it presents an interesting question to black. I am attacking both the knight and the pawn. Which one will he save? So that's what I decided to do. Was move there, and my opponent promptly blundered. I sort of figured that because of the way that RiskyWhiskey had played at the beginning of the game, a blunder was inevitable so long as I could keep calm and put pressure on. So b5 came in, leaving this pawn undefended. So I took it. And that is now attacking that rook and pinning the knight. So all of a sudden, I'm enjoying that position. If I look at the Kibitzer, all of a sudden I'm 1.6 pawns ahead. So I've turned it round. So despite me losing material on the board, I'm technically still a pawn down on the board. My position is much better. And another blunder happens. So rook to d8 would have helped with both of those problems, in that it would defend the pinned piece and get that rook safe. But that wasn't what was played. So decided to defend the pinned piece and attack my bishop. So of course I moved my bishop to the square where that rook was sitting on. And then RiskyWhiskey blunders again. I'm not sure I capitalized on this one. Oh no, it was. I did. So just fail to do anything about the fact that, I'm going to come in here and start putting more pressure on here and attempt to force the exchange of queens, which black should have gone for and didn't. So my game plan is simple. I get ahead, I simplify. That's what I teach the kids. That's what I play. Queen c7 comes in instead. I play bishop to f4, just trying to put some pressure on this here diagonal. Just because I think, well, that's a lot of things in a line. Shame if something were to happen to them. So I played bishop to f4. I probably should have played rook to d1, because again, there's two pieces in a line, one of which is that pinned knight. But I didn't play that, because I kind of knew the castling was coming in. I get my bishop safe. Queen goes back to the d8. I do not know the logic behind that move. Maybe it was a mouse slip, because I certainly can't see what the plan is. Rook to d1. Finally going for, now that there's three pieces on this line, I'm like, yeah, I'll have that. I'll have that for sure. This bishop is now in some trouble because I've got it two ways. So if I take that bishop, now that knight is pinned to that queen, and I'm free to pick up this one. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on there. That bishop moves out of the way for some reason, and I go ahead and take that piece, knowing that, yeah, you can take there, but I'm gonna capture the defender. So bishop takes, I capture the defender. It's all over now. I'm eight points clean ahead now. Queen goes to h4. Stop me if you've seen this one before. So pretty transparent ploy to checkmate on this square. And it might have worked too if that bishop wasn't on prise. So I go ahead and take it. I've completely neutralized the threat now. You can't checkmate from that position. So I am in the clear. And just idly, I thought, oh, what if he plays f6 in this position? I'm just going to check him. And so I'm assuming that RiskyWhiskey is a he. I shouldn't do that. So black plays f6. And I check. King moves to h8. And I looked at this for all of 2 seconds. Going, I know there's a forced checkmate here that probably involves a piece sacrifice. But it's one thing to be up in a game. It's another to win. I needed to win this, not to be winning on material and then accidentally think a piece sack was going to work for me and then lose. But here's the piece sack that I didn't play. So queen to f7. If rook takes, then rook, rook, checkmate.
Mate.
If instead rook goes to g8, I play bishop to d5, which threatens checkmate instead on this square, to which black has to start getting desperate just to stop checkmate from happening. Eventually, it's inevitable, and that's checkmate as well. But I didn't play it. I played, from that position, I played queen to e7, because I thought, this way I know I get the job done. Black will have to sacrifice massive material to slow me down in this position. I know what I do, and it's not gonna save black now. It's all over from here. This would be the slowest route. Rook to g8, rook to d8, queen takes e4, knight takes, h6, rook to d7, and there is no stopping it. So I saw this sequence myself, that if you get the knight in there, if the pawn takes, you can just checkmate on this square. If the pawn doesn't move, you can take the rook, and then there's no defender on this square, and you can checkmate here instead. So that would be the slowest route. It would be after f4, taking the rook, king takes, and then that's checkmate. Instead of that longer defense, my opponent decided to play queen to g5 for some reason. I suppose defending this square, thinking that it was the only square I could checkmate on. But as I'm sure you'll have noticed by reading on the right hand side of the screen,
Mate.
that's also checkmate. So there's a lesson there about underestimating my opponents. RiskyWhiskey could have beaten me, didn't have the vision to avoid making a blunder, which do any of us sometimes. So my rating's gone up, and I hope it keeps on doing that, because I want to do this. If you enjoyed that, give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, and stick around, watch some more videos, and see you again next time. Goodbye.